So hello, and thank you for clicking on this video. The very first short that I ever did was in reference to the drama Heroes Next Door. And this is a drama that rather impressed me because it was on the verge so many times. I told my mom, I was talking to her, and I'm like, there's so many dramas that I'm like, as soon as I finish it, I want to rewatch it, and I want to rewatch it so bad. Like, right the minute I finish it. And why is that? What is this phenomenon that is happening, all this stuff? And then I realized the thing is, there are so many dramas. Chinese are super bad at destroying it between 6 to 10 episodes to the end of the drama. Frequently in a Korean drama, it's either the halfway point or literally the last episode or two. Occasionally, Chinese dramas do that too, where it's just literally the last episode or two. But this one, the thing is, when I really want to rewatch it. Why? Well, it's because for the entire drama, I'm on the edge of my seat going, there is a trope. They've brought this one back again, and I know exactly where it's going because that's where it goes every single time. And then it doesn't do that. So I'm like, yes! And then I see another trope, and I'm like, oh no, now they're going to do this one instead because they've not brought up this one. And I'm on the edge of my seat for the entire drama. And then I finish it and realize that they never went there. They never went where everybody goes every single time this comes up. All of a sudden, I love this drama. And now that I know they aren't going to go there, that's why I want to rewatch it. Because I actually know what's happening. I know where it's going to go and all the rest of this kind of stuff. And I can love it. Whereas the first time through, I have no idea. So I'm stressed on the edge of my seat the whole time. That is what is happening there. That is why. That is why. Heroes Next Door. I definitely had some complaints about it, but I also absolutely loved it. So, I had several complaints. I wrote 2 pages worth in my notebook in this one. But some of that faded, i.e. got corrected, or just wasn't as big of a deal as it looked to be at first. So some stuff they made a big deal. I mean, not exactly they made a deal. It was a deal, but at the same time, they didn't end up Chiaki. That is not a scratching poll. Where was I? It was a thing, but like I say, with the tropes and the whatnot that are always brought up in all of these dramas, and they become some kind of fixated for some reason. They fixate on them and make them these big deals and all the rest of this stuff. It's so dramatic and all the rest of that stuff. But in this one, it was there, but it faded away, where it wasn't as big of a deal as it seemed like it was going to be, given past experience with other dramas. And now the furnace is coming on. That's what's going to interrupt me next. And some of these things that I did not like just didn't matter in light of how good the rest of the drama was as a whole. So yeah, in some dramas, it's like some things become such a big deal that I literally cannot enjoy anything else happening in the drama because this one thing was so desperately in need of correcting, and everybody is ignoring it like it's no big deal. And I'm like, how are you ignoring this? This is very, very, very important, and you're just flat out ignoring it. I cannot, my brain will not let me ignore this thing. Yeah, so, spelling differences are so annoying. I'm watching this whole drama and he's Kang with a K, and then I go on my drama list and he's Gang with a G. I'm like, stupid spelling differences. Whatever. Kang is epic. Sorry, editing, spelling mistake. He's a childish goof off like he's still a teenager in high school, but it's never overboard. It doesn't work when you take it as far as some dramas take it. In this one, they didn't take it so far. It worked. He is the cutest dad on the entire planet, and he is so freaking strong and smart. Way too often in way too many of these dramas, people are one or the other. They go in there with brute force all of the time, and they have no brains, or they're really smart, but they have absolutely no strength, so everybody else has always got to save them or whatever. Or it's like something about it is just unrealistic. In this case, both his brain and his brawn made sense. They were well within reason for what he had done throughout his entire life and who he was as a person and all the rest of this stuff. It made sense, and neither one of them was overboard. They were so well balanced, and both were there. I could not stand his wife for half of the drama. I swear she didn't smile until episode 7 or something. I actually had the number and then I forgot where it was. It literally took over half the drama before I saw her smile. She might have smiled once before at her daughter or something, but when it comes to her husband, she is literally so cold. I swear, I have to know why on earth she married Kang. There's almost nothing there between them. if they didn't have a child, and I legit can't, on her part, figure out how on earth they managed to have a child. She's so cold toward him and so whatever towards him. I'm like, why are you even married to him? And how on earth did you two have a child? And I frequently see that, especially in Korean dramas. And it's like, there's got to be some kind of cultural difference things. But I'm like, why is this so prevalent in the dramas? Why? Where these people are married and you can't tell. They're literally so cold. Especially, frequently it's the woman that's like this. Like Kang, you can tell throughout the drama, you can tell how much he loves his wife. But it's like no touching. And I get it, even if you have a culture where you don't touch out in public and stuff, because it's a thing where it's like, that's a private matter. All the time in these dramas, all the time. They're home, alone. Their daughter isn't even there. They are literally alone. Only the two of them, where literally nobody else can see them. And they still act like touching is forbidden. They're not allowed to touch each other. They're not allowed to do with each other. They aren't allowed to have any kind of affection. It's just, there's this weird, just cold front that's just happening. And it's like, why? Why does this happen all the time? And on top of that, this is one of the things, this is an example. She, his wife, calls him her second child more than once. How can you get away with calling him that? He's one of the most responsible / dependable men on the planet. Like, he literally is. That's not just my bias. At his job, at taking care of his child, at everything. He is so dependable and responsible. Yes, he has like a teenager goofing off in high school kind of thing, but I'm telling you, some of these characters in some of these other ones, no, actually, even though they have a really cool side about them, overall, I would not be able to stand it. If I knew this person in real life, I would not be able to spend very much time around them because, and I mean, some of it you could say it's an ADHD thing. I have ADHD, and yet there are some people, like there's at least one person I can think of in real life that has ADHD that I knew that like it was really hard to spend a whole lot of time around him because he was a good friend of the family. Like he is a good friend, and I still consider him a good friend. But at the same time, he was really, really difficult to handle because he just like, where's the lines and would you stop it? And like I can think of another person where it's like his humor. It's like, just the other night he said something, and I'm like, to somebody else that heard him say it too, I'm like, was he being serious or was he making a joke? Because he makes everything a joke, and I literally can't tell. With his type of humor, I'm like, was that actually true? Was he actually being serious this time? Or is this another one of his jokes? Was he making a joke and I just didn't understand the joke? I legit couldn't tell. And it was kind of important. If he was telling the truth, that was kind of important, and I needed to pass the message on to other people and whatnot. But if it was a joke, and I honestly could not tell. And the other two people were like, we can't really tell either. So, oh my gosh, these types of people are so difficult to deal with in real life. I can't. But at the same time, I swear it's not me being biased. In this case, I don't understand how she could possibly say that about Kang. His personality, the goof off kind of stuff that he does, as far as I can tell, no, I would love that. I would thrive off of him. Him and I would be like a perfect match for each other. That would be so cool to have someone like that in my life. I would love it. Like, no, yes, he's a goof off and he's doing whatever kind of things, but at the same time, he does it within measure, within reason. He's just a goofy kind of person. However, this is, thankfully, one of the examples that I was talking about of fading. It kind of faded. There's something about it, maybe I don't know, but at the same time, it kind of feels like the reason I feel like it faded, even though she called him her second child again at the end of the drama. Like, the thing is, for one thing, the job that he has was a secret. It was top secret. Like, nobody knew, so I'm assuming his wife didn't know that that's what he was doing. But at the same time, like, was he doing that job before he met her? No, I think with the timeline of when that thing happened, it was only like a year or two ago. Their girl is like, how old is she, 4 or 5 or something like that? So he was with his wife when he was doing that job. So even if she didn't know exactly what he was doing, she had some kind of idea that what he was doing. She knew he was doing some kind of physical something. So it's like, you're really gonna call a guy like him a child? The whole dynamic of their background story, I wish they had given just a little bit more so that we could justify her attitude a little bit, because at least with the other girl in this drama, I'll get to her, but at least with her, it did kind of justify it. They had some things, and there was a whole thing, I'll talk about her next. But when it comes to Kang's wife, it just there was something lacking there where I'm like I say, I didn't like her, and it took like more than half the drama before I could like her, because you barely see her, and then anytime you see her, she's got this weird attitude that I'm to him, and I'm like, why did you have no justification for this? Where's the justification for this? Give me something, because this is not working for me. I don't like you. Your disrespect for him is off the charts. It's insane. You're supposedly married to him, and yet I see nothing here. What is this? But her calling him a child the second time around, why I feel like it faded, I still do not think that a wife should ever be calling her husband that. He's your husband. Husband. He is an adult and he is your husband, not your child. Your attitude toward your child and your attitude toward your husband should not even remotely be the same. Should not even remotely look like each other. But when she called him her second child the second time around, like near the end of the drama when she said it, there's something about the way that she said it that felt a lot more like, some people have called me, hey kid, is what they say to me, and I'm like, I'm not a kid. But some people, when they say that, the attitude with which they say it, the tone of their saying it, and what else, the context and everything, they say kid, and it's like, whereas other people say, hey kid, and it's like, I'm fine with this. Because of who they are and how they're saying it and all the rest of this stuff, I'm okay with them calling me kid. Because, I mean, I am young enough to be their child. And on top of that, it's just they're not doing it in a disrespectful, downgrading kind of way. It's more of a term of endearment kind of thing when these people say it. And it kind of felt like that when she called him her child, her second child, the first time around. It was like a roll of eyes, and she's got no respect for him, and she's so frustrated with him and all the rest of this kind of stuff. Whereas near the end of the drama, when she called him her second child, it felt a little more like a term of endearment, where it's like somehow, I don't know, this is why I say I wish there was more background, because originally her attitude toward him, and why does she have this attitude and all the rest of this stuff, what is she expecting from him, what does she know from him, why does she have this attitude, and yet somehow, somewhere along the way of this drama, specifically of what I see, she figures something out about him that she apparently didn't know before, where she has a different understanding of who he is as a person. I don't know. I'd have to rewatch the drama, which I want to do. But there was something about it that felt like she finally had some kind of understanding that she didn't have before, and because of that, she sees him in a different light, and she has a different kind of. She actually has some respect for him now, and all of this kind of stuff. There was something there. It felt like there was some kind of shift. So when she said that the second time around, it did feel a little more like a term of endearment, where she's kind of perhaps even just understanding more why he's so goofy like this. Why is his personality like this? Like, to me, that's the thing about him being such a childish goof off, is it felt partially perhaps a little bit like a mask, but it also felt like this is who he truly is. This is just what he's really like, just naturally. He's just like this. He's just very not childish. There's two different kinds of childish. There's childish as in you're being a child, you're throwing a temper tantrum, grow up. And then there's childish where it's like you just know how to enjoy life, and you're not this bogged down, gloomy, depressed, whatever kind of adult that's just so responsible and all this stuff. You have a glow of youthfulness about you. You know how to have fun and be weird and go out with your child, and you're a fully grown adult, but you're gonna have like the bunny nose and bunny ears, like whiskers. Why not? That's like what you do when you have a child and all this stuff. So there's two different kinds of childish, and he's the good kind of childish. Whereas some of these dramas, it just feels so entirely forced. It's like one of these two is not real, is not genuine. They mesh so well in him. Both of them were genuinely him. And you get it, and you get how. And it was just well done. And that was the deal I had with his wife. And how she kind of sort of ruined stuff for me, but at the same time. And then, the other woman in this drama, where was I with my notes here? Also, the store owner's wife. Oh my word, she made me mad. She was literally bullying the men that she knows that she's stronger than, to force information out of them that was none of her business. In other words, like, her excuse right off the bat is that she's an instructor. So I'm like, okay, so all instructors are just these like forcefully mean, strict people that have like this cold temper that you can't get near. That's what you're telling me, is that all instructors are like this? And it's I don't think it's purely because she's instructor. I think that's just her personality type. And that's the thing. I didn't like her at first, but I've said before, even if these things are in a story, the point is the growth that you see. And within her, I didn't like her at first. There was two things about her at first. But even those things did start to melt and she actually started to mature and grow up a little. And she was starting to like be more of a human being versus some kind of like nasty robot. Like the thing is, I have real issues. It doesn't matter whether you're a girl or a guy. When people are like trying to tell you that nobody wants to come over and hang out with you and nobody wants to be around you and literally everybody is afraid of you because you've got a nasty temper and you bully people. And she goes, what was that? I'm like, yeah, you just proved it again. And yet they're like, can't say anything to her because she's got this nasty habit of being nasty to people, especially people that she knows full well she's stronger than. So these guys, she knows full well she's stronger than them, so she literally is a bully. She's literally a bully. She bullies them and forces them to tell her things. Like, any of that. But then on top of that, when it came to Kang's secret, that right there is literally none of her business. All the rest of it, what are you doing? What is going on in our neighborhood? Why did this happen and this happen and all the rest of that stuff? Got to a point where, yeah, she had a right to know that because she's part of this neighborhood and she does actually have the capabilities of helping and her own family is pulled into this. So yeah, she has a right to know about it. But at the same time, she does this hypocritical thing where she pushes and bullies people into giving her the information and then she turns around and pushes and bullies other people that are trying to get the information. So you hypocrite, you think you're good enough and you have a right to know, but nobody else does. Now all of a sudden you're going to tell them to like just shut up and back off when you wouldn't take no for an answer yourself? What makes you better than them? What makes you have a more right than them? Like literally her own husband. This is also his neighborhood. This is also his family that's getting involved. And yet she's telling him shut up and get out of here and don't ask questions and all this stuff where after she was allowed to just like bully and push and yeah, okay, fine. But the thing about her bullying stuff, it's like, okay, what's the word? Like any bully on a school ground, they'll only bully the people that they know full well they can get away with it. It was Kang's secret, his identity from before that literally nobody's supposed to know because this is literally top secret information. She did not have any right to push to find that out, and she knew it because Kang's around and she says nothing. She doesn't try to pull it out of him. She knows full well she can't. But then the minute that he steps out of the room, she turns around to these weak little men that she can just bully and harass and do whatever she wants to, and she knows she can get the information out of them, so she forces them to tell her. The crap is wrong with you, woman. The crap. Thankfully, she did get better throughout the drama, and I did like her by the end of the drama. But oh my gosh, that made me mad. Woman, seriously. Yeah, she at least, like I said, definitely got better as the drama went. There was 2 parts in this drama that I almost cried over. When she was hugging her daughter and her husband came running over there and he's sobbing and he's saying he's so proud of them and he throws his arms around them and all the rest of this kind of stuff. No spoilers for why, but that was the scenario, that right there when he came. And like that was the most human. She like acts like this tough girl that can do absolutely anything, and then that happens and you literally see that's the first time you see a crack where it's like she is shaken for the first time and she's like, I'm like, okay, now you are human. And that was where really, really, okay, I started liking her after that because like, oh my gosh. And just the way that he came over there and he's sobbing and he's throwing his arms around them and all like, oh my gosh, I almost started crying. It was so sweet. It was so well done. And then the other part that I almost cried was when the one character, again, I'll try not to spoil, I won't say who it is because then you'll figure out. But there's the one character, there is one character that dies earlier on, and that's how another character gets drawn into this. But like, when we followed him home, and then he's looking at pictures, and then he breaks down crying. I almost cried right there too. Oh my gosh, that was sad. And see, that to me is one of the reasons why Hero Next Door is as epic as it is, because it was a lot more real and honest. Far too many of these dramas, especially the Chinese, they are so bad for this, but so are the Koreans. They're so bad for it, and that is over dramatizing everything. They're overdoing everything. Especially the Chinese, they have this really bad habit of just forcefully forcing me to feel a certain way. And they're like, they don't even justify it. They don't give me a proper reason for it. They don't explain things well enough. Like, and I don't mean verbally like, okay, this is what is going on here, and this person is thinking this, therefore this and this and this. I don't mean like that, but I mean like, in Heroes Next Door, there were some of these scenes that were so genuine. They just got down there and said, this is what's happening. And they just made this robotic woman that was an instructor, so she's strict with everything and you can't break through her. She's so cold and so stone. And all of a sudden there's this thing and there's this crack and you see the humanity and it just breaks you down. And you just start crying along with her. It's just so real. They didn't force it. You just felt it. They just made it real enough that this is literally on my playing field. This is literally next door neighbors. And this is what we're feeling because this is what they're feeling. And it worked. So many times. It just worked. It just was so well done. I ended up liking most of the characters, and for once it made the story stronger and better that, and this is a spoiler, who the bad guy is in this drama, far too many times, and this is one of the problems that the next drama I'm going to talk about had, far too many times. Like, it's just overdone, okay? Regularly you want to connect the bad guy to a character where it's like, this is what's going on because of this character. But unfortunately, it like ends up being like a spotlight thing. The main character is Kong, yes, but he's not the only main character. Like, there's other characters too in this drama. And it's like, when you start making literally everything connected to this one character, it gets to be too much. Like, back off. Everything does not have to revolve around them. There's this balance in a certain way, like, you know. So in the end, when the bad guy was not specifically connected to his character, because at the beginning of the drama it shows you that the last mission that Kong went on, and this mission is the one that he's got PTSD over, and he's got these like trauma responses that he's still dealing with and all this stuff. Usually in these dramas, like 98% of the time, the bad guy in the drama that they're dealing with now will be somebody that was on that mission that has a grudge against him, so now he's taking it out on the whole neighborhood to take it out on Kong because he's mad at Kong because it was connected to this. That 98% of the time, maybe only 95% of the time, but well over 90% of the time, as upwards of 98% of the time, if not 99% of the time, that's what the story would have been. This one didn't do that. It was not connected in that way, and I am so thankful for that. That actually made the story stronger. Because we didn't need it. That would have been too much. That would have been too much over the board. We didn't need it. So I am so glad that it was not there. Okay, I got interrupted again, but I feel like there's still so many more things that I want to mention that made this drama so good. So let's see if I can remember them all. Where was I? I hated watching the corrupt politicians, especially the gross guy, as typical. Some of that was necessary and some of it really wasn't. So yeah, I fast speed watched a lot of that stuff. One of the cutest scenes in the whole drama, sorry, was when Kong's wife just threw her leg over him. His reaction. I mean, that's another one of those things where, like, when you sleep in the bed with somebody else and there's somebody that's, like, constantly throwing their arms or whatever, usually in the dramas that's, like, just a comedy point. So, like, somebody is sleeping and somebody throws their leg over them and they're like... Because, you know, it's either just that goofy side character that's always doing everything and is always just extra loud and always throwing his legs over and, like, putting his hand over his face and whatever. Or it's, like, the awkward moment where, like, the two like each other and for some reason they have to share the same bed. And all of a sudden she's throwing her leg over him. Or she discovers that he snores or something like that. It's usually as a comedy thing or as an awkward, ooh, they're growing closer together because they're touching. But in this one, it was like I say, just the next door neighbor kind of feel. Even that, it was just his reaction where he's like all worried and he's thinking about stuff and all the rest of the stuff, and all of a sudden her leg just appears over his side. And he's just like kind of glances and he's like, why that was just so cute. The way it was done, there was nothing. I mean, the over dramatic stuff we'll get back to, but it's like there's so many of these things that mattered the most. They just did it naturally, and it just naturally flowed, and it made it such a much better story. There was one of the things that is very typical in all of these kinds of dramas. Like the one character, what was his name? Byung-nam, I think. Yes, him. He, in this drama, makes the reference that all of them are side dishes. Kong is the main dish and all the rest of them are side dishes. And I'm like, that's fine. The problem is that in way too many of these dramas, like I said, there were so many times where I'm like, this is a trope where you're going there. And then they didn't. In this one, they did once. Where it's like, far, 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 far too often, like 90 to 98 to 99% of the time in these dramas, when a character asks the other character, why do you never tell me? Why won't you include me? Why can't you tell me and let me help you? The reason why is because when they do get involved, they insist on being involved in all the parts that they have no qualification for. There are ways to be involved without being in the middle of a scenario that you don't fit in. And in this one, there was once, and it was not entirely their fault because they needed to move. They couldn't necessarily wait, and I think that was the point. They had to keep moving. Kang couldn't go yet, so the others had to step forward and do something that they weren't really qualified for. And you can tell they weren't qualified for it because even the girl, their names are too hard to say, I tell you. Nam Yan, I think is how her name is said. She was the closest to being qualified for that situation, but even she ended up tied up on the floor. All of them were in complete danger because, like, I mean, what is with that guy? He was literally in the military. He's part of the reserves. He was being trained, but how on earth was he being trained? Because there was twice, or was there 3 times, where he was involved in a fight and he got taken out in seconds. I'm like, what is wrong with this kid? He's got no fighting ability. This is just wrong. What kind of military training was he getting? Maybe he's good at taking apart a gun and putting it back together, but he can't fight to save anything. Dude, you wouldn't even be able to handle a bully on the school ground. Like, what the heck is with his inability to do any kind of fighting? But who trained you? And what did they train you in? Because it wasn't that. But, yeah, most of the time in this drama, that's the thing. You can, like, it's going to come up in the other drama when they talk about protecting people. There's more than one way to do that. Stay within your qualifications, for crying out loud. Don't complicate the situation and make it 50 million times worse, because now they have to come and save you too because you tried to do something that you literally weren't qualified for. In this drama, they actually, apart from that one time, they actually stuck to what they were qualified for, and that is why it worked every time. Like, Byung Nam, he is not a fighter. Byung Nam had very specific, he was really good at stuff like creating things and modifying things and whatnot. He was really good at that, and that is what he stuck to for most of this drama. And it was a huge help to have him doing those things. He was necessary to the team, and he helped strengthen it because he stuck to doing what he was really good at doing most of the time. So, like, finally, you know, a drama where people actually stuck to what they were doing. And when they were getting after Kang for not telling him things, I was going, well, yeah, we have these scenarios where he's not telling you because you people keep trying to come along with him in situations where you shouldn't be going. Because there was one of the ones where they're like, you're going alone. And I'm like, on one hand, yes, it makes sense. He probably shouldn't be going alone because, like, you know, he's going to get hurt because he's going alone. But at the same time, who's going to come with him? Absolutely none of you are qualified for it. You all are just going to get yourself killed or very, very hurt, and he's going to get himself even more hurt because he's trying to save you because you can't fight to save your life. So why would you go along? But Byung Nam's point, and it was true, like, don't try to do it by yourself. We're a team. We can help you. And he could help him without going along and getting in the way because he created things for him to use that definitely helped him. See what I mean? Do you get it? Do you understand? Okay, moving on. So, then there's things like the daughter of Do-yeon. Okay, I know she's a little kid, but seriously. There's, like, you know, the plot, whatever, things that happen when they happen only because of plot, and then they don't happen when they should have happened because of plot. I mean, this little girl, she's in the training thingy, and the guy's like, what do you do in this scenario? And everybody blew the whistle. And then he's like, and what about this scenario? And all of the others are like, this. And he's like, no. But Do-yeon understood. She blew the whistle. Good girl. Smart girl. She knows. And then she proceeds throughout the rest of the drama to do stupid things where she's trusting this person and going there and doing that and trusting that person. Like, what the crap, girl? You were portrayed as somebody that knew better than this. She literally, all the way up until those points, was shown to be someone that knew better than this. And then, like her mother says, wait here while I use the bathroom. And what does this stupid little girl do? She leaves the bathroom and goes and stands out in the middle of the crowd where literally anybody could pick her up and run off with her and nobody would have a clue. What are you doing? Just because someone said move over so that I can wash my hands, please? And she moved over and left and went out there. And then she accepted something from somebody at one point. She accepted someone from somebody just because their face was familiar. Like, what? You don't know the person. Like, why did she become so stupid? Why? And then later on, it's like, even if you know that person, I'm trying not to give spoilers here. Even if you know that person, why would you go with them? There is no scenario in your entire life where it has ever been okay for you to just take off with them. That person within this setting, yes. But that person over here and telling you to leave this setting and go with them, no. What on earth? This is what she supposedly proved earlier on she knew full well she wasn't supposed to do, and yet she did it. I know she's a little kid, but the thing is, they portrayed it like she was a little kid that was smarter than that. That she knew better than that. That she had been told that she had had this discussion with her own father. And then on top of that, with the guy that was training her in the martial art school thingy. She was trained and she knew better. And yet, she did. And then there's at the one point where her dad is bleeding because he got injured and he's got blood all over him. And yet, she does not comment. He shows up with blood all over him. And she acts like she can't see the blood at all. I'm like, plot, whatever. She should have made a comment about that. She should have been like, Dad, are you hurt? What happened? He'd be like, I'm fine. It's okay. Blah, blah, blah. No, there was none of that. She acted like there was literally no blood on him. She didn't notice it at all, even though he's literally holding her. Did he actually pick her up? He knelt down so that, like, literally at eye level. It's right here, right in her face. There's no way she missed it. And yet not even remotely, not even the slightest comment. She's in the middle of this weird place. What are you even doing there to begin with? Because you were stupid. And then your dad shows up bleeding and you're nothing. Like, that is incredibly inconsistent with what she was like throughout most of the drama before this. What? And I know she's a little kid, so on one hand, whatever. She's little. She's like, I think she's younger than 6. I can't remember how old they said she is. She's like 4 or 5, I think. So she's really little. Of course she's going to make mistakes and not know everything. But the problem is that they portrayed it earlier like she did know better. Like she was smarter because of who her dad is and what he has trained her to do. There were multiple places earlier where it made it look like she would not fall for something this dumb because she did know better. And yet, apparently she didn't. So I'm like, it would have been nice if you had like made that a little more consistently. Like, come on. And then, was there something else? I swear there was something else. Oh, now I kind of remember. The growth of these characters, that is another one of the biggest things that makes this thing epic, is like the growth of the characters. Each one of them, in some kind of way, every single one of them matured in some way. Despite the fact they're all fully grown adults, they're already very mature because they're all in their like early to late 30s, like all of them. They're not even in their early 20s. These are older people. All of them are. And they've all, just about all of them, had some kind of military something in the background or whatever. Okay, that guy with the laptop, that was just dumb. That was a little overboard. Even if it's a kind that you aren't used to, for crying out loud. I don't know that much about computers, and I know full well that people can, like, hack into the camera and watch you, and yet they didn't cover the camera, so they're being watched, and they don't even know it. I'm like, oh, you can't be this dumb, okay? And then when they're, like, they're tracking him, and they're like, what? How did I'm like, okay, no, there was too many things that he was too dumb about with that. Come on. You're a hacker, even if this is equipment you don't know. It is still a computer, for the love of sanity. These are the basics of the basics. Come on, that was a little overboard. That was the other thing, too. The drama thing. There's those videos where one cat gets startled and there's a room of like 12 cats, and every other cat, there's absolute chaos because one got startled. There were several times within this drama where I felt like that's what was happening. They got so dramatic and they went scattery on drama because one little thing happened. I'm like, guys, that was so through the roof. What was that for? And, like, yeah, that short that I made about the buttons. I mean, the over-dramatized overness. Why? Why are you being this dramatic? You didn't need to be that dramatic. But getting back to Kang, and the thing where, the end of the drama, where the growth and whatever with him, like, he used to be in a kind of job where he had to kill people in order to survive. And that was the point they were trying to make. One of the things, you're past that now. You have a team and you have like a next door feel. You're not in that kind of job anymore. You don't need to do that anymore. And at the end of the drama, he's like, I didn't kill anybody. And you're like, yes! But at the same time, he kind of did. I mean, all of those people when he was going in there, what? Like, this is where the major spoiler is, okay? If you don't want to hear this, this part of it is a major spoiler, and I'll put a thing above it. Major spoiler, he kind of did. Because all of those people that he knocked out, apparently, he was only knocking them out. He shot them. Some of them. Many of them. So apparently he only knocked them out or injured them. Okay, fine. If you want to say that's what he was doing, he didn't kill any of them. He only injured and knocked them out. Okay, fine. However, they were all still there. As far as I know, nobody came and collected those people. So then when he gets down to the bottom, he leaves the guy with the bomb trigger on the floor beside him and leaves. Why did you leave both the bomb and the trigger for the bomb with that guy? Okay, so no, you didn't kill anybody, but at the same time, you kind of did because you left that trigger with him. So then the guy himself blows himself up, and not only himself, what about all those people that you knocked out? Now, like, every single one of them died too, because that bomb was so big, there's no way they survived. So you didn't directly kill anybody, no, but that was kind of like, isn't it kind of basics 101 when you're in a fight, you kick the weapons away? I mean, even that guy earlier that he was fighting with a knife, that is literally 101. Even if you knock somebody out, they might still wake up. You're supposed to, like, kick the weapon away from them. He should have moved that bomb trigger so he couldn't set it off, even if you didn't think he would. What did you leave the bomb there for? Isn't that, like, the first thing you're supposed to do? Move the weapon away from the bad guy? And yet he left the weapon there twice. He left the weapon right beside the bad guy. I'm like, so then all these people die in this explosion, and it's kind of his fault. Kind of, because he left the trigger there. So then not quite as major of a spoiler, so, like, you know, tiny bit of a spoiler after this, but yeah, that's one thing I kind of liked. I mean, when the bad guy is making excuses for why he did that, so often in so many of these dramas, it would be an agreement. Yes, we totally get it. Yes, you're justified in this, and all the rest, you know, revenge for whatever. There's two different things going on here. Yes, something horrific happened, and that should have been, but that's the thing. Kang, yes, where he's like, would you just shut up? Just stop making excuses. Just shut up. What you did was absolutely wrong. Doesn't matter what triggered it in the first place. You missed the chance to make things right. I can't remember if that's exactly what he said, but it's very close to what he said. It's paraphrased what he said, probably. And I'm like, thank you. In this drama, they actually made a point of, like, that is exactly the point. That is exactly accurate. Something happened that should not have happened, and it was horrible, and all the rest of this stuff. But then what? Then you get all these innocent people involved. This is what revenge always does. And this is why justice and revenge are not even remotely the same thing. They are not even remotely the same thing. No, not even remotely. They are very, 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 very different. Revenge always involves all these innocent people. All these innocent people are getting hurt and killed because of revenge. They had nothing to do with this, and yet they all get sucked in. And then, like, even if you only take revenge on the one person, it ripples out and affects other people too. Yourself included. You, the person that's taking revenge, get horribly twisted and injured in the process. Like, revenge is terrible. Do not take revenge. Revenge and justice are not the same thing. He missed his chance for justice, and instead he took revenge. He chose to go for revenge instead of actually properly, like, he tried justice and it didn't work. There were still other things he could have done. So many other things he could have done, and that was Kang's point. Just shut up. Stop making excuses. I'm not listening to your excuses. We're not making excuses for your excuses. We're just not doing this. And I'm like, thank you, Kang. It's so rare when they do that. And it's not like I mean, okay. So yes. Then here we go. Close to an hour. This drama was really well done, and there's all my notes and all my reasons for things that I didn't like, but things that were not so good at the beginning, but then they got better by the end, and why, and all of this kind of stuff, and why this drama was so well done. It was very, very well done. It was a rare one, sadly. It was a rare one, where it's like, it's a gem. There's Sell Your Haunted House, and there's this one, Heroes Next Door. These are the two Korean gems that I found recently. I have been very disappointed by pretty much every Korean drama I've seen in the last couple of years. Like, it's rare for me to find a good Korean one these days. There's just something just not working with them. But this one, I don't remember when. The information was up on the screen before, and here it is again for when it was made. It was very, very recent. I think this is one that was just the end of last year. So it's only a few months old. So it's very, very recent. And it was very, very well done. It was probably upwards there of one of my top 10 favorite Korean dramas, I think. So, there you go. That is one that you should go check out. Heroes Next Door. Very good drama. It didn't reach the top. Story, I gave it 4 stars. That's only because the bad guy was... The characters were only 4 stars because there were some characters, they're not my personality type, and there was a few of them that I still had slight issues with by the end of the dramas. They were a little... The acting was 4.5. because not everybody did the most epic job on the planet, but most of them, like, that it was really well done. The music was maybe 3.5, which is slightly above the average, just slightly, because, like, I didn't absolutely love the music, but, like, it didn't irritate me anywhere that I can think of. It was good. It was fine. It was good. The rewatch value is either a 4 or a 4.5 star. So this drama was very highly rated. It probably has a heart on it too. You know, those are my special dramas, even if there's things that I have to ignore about it. Then there's the special ones that get an extra little something, even if they don't get 5 stars, still. So, there you go. That's that one. You should go watch that one. Heroes Next Door. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment. What did you think of this one? What was your favorite thing about it? What was your least favorite thing about it, and why? Bye!